In recent weeks, at least 20 bodies have been recovered from a river in western Kenya. The majority of the bodies recovered from the river Yala, which feeds into Lake Victoria, were found in sacks, with some tied up and others broken, indicating that the victims had gone through torture before being put into the river, according to the human rights group Hockey Africa. What's stunning and disturbing is that these remains were abandoned by individuals who have yet to be identified. Hussein Khalid, Executive Director of Hockey Africa. Hussein Khalid, Hockey Africa's Executive Director, added that the unidentified dead were being received by the local mortuary, which had buried 9 of them in a mass grave to make room for more bodies. Unidentified people, according to locals. Activist Boniface Mwangi tweeted that he and the leader of the local human rights organization Hockey Africa had counted more than 20 decaying remains at the Yala Hospital mortuary. Kenyans have been shocked by the news, with many venting their frustrations on social media and raising concerns about their safety in the region. Locals claim the number is higher than the 20 dead deposited at the mortuary, claiming 31 bodies have been recovered from the river since July of last year. Locals claim that the remains are transported in vehicles from various locations and dumped in the river. Kenyans are calling for investigations to determine the identity of those who have died and to learn who is responsible for the killings.
We are here in Yala today. As Hockey Africa, we received information through social media and our friend and colleague Boniface Mwangi, where an individual complained that there are floating bodies in River Yala that are being fished and being taken to the mortuary. As you're aware, we have been working with families of those whose relatives have disappeared. So when we got this information, we decided to rush here very quickly. What is shocking and extremely disturbing is that these bodies are actually dumped by individuals who remain so far unknown. What we know is that there is a double cabin and a probox that have been spotted on different dates. Individuals dumping bodies at the bridge into River Yala. According to local communities, this happens in the dead of the night between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. and they've been spotted several times doing that. So far, we have visited the mortuary. We have seen for ourselves bodies tied with ropes, bodies that have been severely tortured, some of them with dismembered limbs and others with marks on their heads. This signifies that these individuals were tortured before being dumped into the river. We've also heard of 10 bodies that were each inside a sack, and these sacks are very well sealed as if it's a parcel. And this gentleman here is the one who is always called to get these bodies from the river. Today, with our own naked eyes, we have seen floating bodies on River Yala. And the question we are asking, do we have a government in place? How come this is happening in an area that is supposed to have a police station, where we have DCI, where we have a county government, and things are happening in, with everyone's knowledge? How come these vehicles that are dumping bodies have never been caught? The individuals who are doing this, how come they remain unknown? And at the same time, we understand that this same river where bodies are found, it is the same river that supplies water to communities, to families in this region. Do people know that the water they're using is actually used as dumping sites for dead bodies? So where is the government? Where are the police? Where is the DCI? When all this is happening and it is known to the authorities, but no action is being taken. So, as the colleague has said here, we have seen in the minimum for ourselves 20 bodies. Most of them remain unknown, but majority of them are tied with ropes and all that, and we are appealing to anyone whose kin may be lost or unknown his whereabouts or her whereabouts to please visit Yala Sub-District Mortuary. You'll get assistance from the local administration at the hospital, so that we can try to identify the bodies that are there.
On Monday, the state of North Nigeria reopened schools that had been closed due to kidnappings. 115 schools have been ordered to restart classes. In Nigeria's Zamfara state, students have returned to school. After a 4-month strike, instructors were overjoyed to see their children on Monday. According to an official statement from the state's education ministry, 115 schools have been ordered to resume lessons, while 85 others have been marked as red and will remain closed until the security situation improves. The closure was prompted by the abduction of 80 pupils from a secondary school in Kaya village last September. Teachers are now attempting to alleviate the effects of the shutdown. It has had a significant impact on our academic calendar since we are attempting to catch up with individuals who have fallen behind, explains Mohammed Musa, a teacher. According to UNICEF, the abductions terrified communities in the north, which were already dealing with low school enrollment, preventing at least 1 million children from returning to school. Bandits, or heavily armed criminal organizations, carry out fatal raids on villages, kidnapping residents and demanding money from their parents and communities. According to the UN Children's Fund, some 1,500 school children were abducted in 20 mass kidnappings in schools across the region last year, with 16 students dying. While the majority of the captives were released after negotiations, others remain held captive in bandit hideouts in the jungle. Hundreds of schools in 6 states Katsina, Kaduna, Zamfara, Niger, Sokoto, and Jigawa were forced to close as a result of the kidnappings. Several precautions have been taken.
Pupils are back to school in Zamfara State, Nigeria. Teachers happily welcomed on Monday their students after a 4-month shutdown. The abduction of 80 students from secondary school last September motivated the closure. The state education ministry ordered 115 schools to resume classes. 85 others designated as red remained closed.
It has really affected our academic calendar because we are trying to catch up with those that we have left aside. So we are trying to put something together so that we can continue with the academic calendar the way it is.
Now, teachers try their best to mitigate the closure impact.
So we are pleading to parents to assist with the teachers and to help their pupils, send them back to school. School has really resumed. So we have to catch up with what we have lost in our back previous holiday we have got to. So
a string of mass abductions from schools across northwestern Nigeria has plagued the school year. Heavily armed criminal gangs called bandits carry out deadly raids on villages, kidnapping residents to obtain ransom from parents and communities.